Hello world! Welcome and welcome back to the channel, and to my first video of the new year, where I am determined to thrive at 25. I have a lot of goals for myself that I want to do my best to achieve, but one thing that won't be a part of these goals is my old sketchbook, which I started all the way back in 2018 and only just now got around to finishing a few days ago. You've probably heard me say this before on the channel, but up until a few years ago, I was a complete sketchbook fiend, and I have stacks upon stacks of sketchbooks that I completed over the years. What you see in front of you is only a small sample of my finished sketchbooks because I actually don't have enough shelf space to store them all in one place. However, this started to dramatically slow down in 2020 when I got an iPad and Apple Pencil drawing setup, which meant that this sketchbook has just been hovering over me, rotting, past its prime, waiting for me to send it off but constantly being denied its final rights. Until now. Now, is every single spread of this sketchbook going to be filled with an artistic masterpiece? No, it is not. But I was able to do the best that I was capable of to bring it to a point where I felt like I could comfortably move on, put this book to bed, and fly off into the sunset in the realm where I belong, which is making digital art. This is just a sketchbook tour. I'm not applying any qualifiers to it. Whether it's a good or a bad sketchbook is up for my viewers to decide. This is going to be kind of an interesting sketchbook tour for me because there's some art that's super old and other art that's actually been drawn within the last year or two, and I think maybe you'll be able to see some fluctuations in my artistic ability and technical skill from page to page because of that. Anyway, this intro's been going on long enough, so let's start! Let's do this! One thing I decided to do for this sketchbook that I've never done with any of my previous ones was, as you can see, decorated with a bunch of stickers. A lot of these are just random store-bought sticker sheets, but these came with Logitech mouse. This is from Keiko Cup, and these two are by Ali-chan. Starting with the very first page, I wonder what's it gonna look like? The first page of every sketchbook always has to be really exciting and significant and special, so let's see what I did here, and it's really So this was in commemoration of the royal wedding, and I drew some of my British OCs that I had at the time for a story that I was writing at the time, which doesn't exist anymore, and a style that I was experimenting with that also doesn't exist anymore. Okay, let's move on. And over here we have some little post-it doodles that I did of the main characters of my sci-fi magical girl manga, The Orchard House, which I was really in active development on at the time. It's gonna be really weird going through this sketchbook because I have so much stuff of The Orchard House from back then. And looking at it now, it's kind of funny because that story doesn't exist anymore. Every once in a while, I wonder if I should make like a summary video like I did for the Caged Underworld. When I made that 10th anniversary video, I did a whole complete plot synopsis of all 4 arcs of the story. I don't want to get into a habit of doing that too often with my old stories, but I think because The Orchard House was relatively far along in development before I decided to reboot it once again, I think it's worth giving some idea to the public about where I was headed with this story because it was one that I talked about a lot. And this was a part of a OC art trade that I did with my friend at the time. This is one of her Tokibibi OCs. More The Orchard House, featuring the main protagonist Courtney in her pajamas, and some Shuko Kira fan art. Here we have some more Orchard House and some more Magical Girl fan art. At that time, I got to see the Sailor Moon S movies, or was it the Sailor Moon S movies or the Sailor Moon Super S movies? Oh, hold on. I'm trying to look at the tickets that I taped in here, but the ink is kind of blurry after I put the tape on them. I see that one of them is Sailor Moon R, and yeah, the other one is Sailor Moon Super S. So I just did a little, like, no pencil, just straight pen doodle of Super Sailor Moon, because that's my favorite transformation. And over here I did a little doodle of all of the main characters of the Orchard House and all of the pride flags that they represented. This was accurate at the time, but now they're a little outdated. And here we have some more Orchard House pen doodles featuring Cordelia and Cheryl. There were some outfits that I drew for these characters in a really old version of the story back when I was in middle or high school, and I wanted to try reviving them here with my newer art style and with the technical skill that I had back then. Just because I felt like when I was at that age, in my early teens, I had a better time coming up with character designs more naturally. And as I got older, I feel like that was something that I tended to struggle with a bit more, so I wanted to go back to that well and see if I was able to get anything good from there. This is old 𝚤𝚘𝚎𝚑, and this is some Animorphs fan art of Tobias. I want to do that $900 dues quote from The Simpsons so bad, but I'm trying to restrain myself. This is another style that I dabbled around with very, very, very infrequently. I guess it's like a sort of like stylized, sort of semi-realistic style, because I felt like he wouldn't really look like Tobias if I just drew him in my normal style. Here we have some more Orchard House artwork once again, and for some reason I thought it would be fun to write her transformation phrase for this character in Japanese. 𝚖𝚊𝚒𝚘𝚘𝚕𝚔. More Orchard House silliness. This is Booth Hamilton. He's like a minor antagonist in the story, but he was also kind of like a Sterling Holloway tribute OC, because Sterling Holloway is like my favorite actor, like regardless of voice actor or live action, like he's my favorite. So I wanted to do a redraw of this sketch that he was in because I felt like it suited Booth's personality really well. And then Nurse Bear, inspired by Google Translate Sings Mary Poppins. And over here we have a bunch of studies of rabbits. This is actually a lot of fun. Like, the anatomy on some of these is a little weird, especially that one. Like, his back is broke. But I really like how a lot of these turned out. I think this one are probably my favorites. And this is us getting into 2019. So this is OC, who is a New Year's Eve Ginjinga. And then I drew Tapako from Tapako Market. And this is part of an OCTP art treat that I did with my friend Latte Swirl of her OC's Air and Space from her webcomic Supernova. And here's just a smattering of different doodles. We have Sobble from when Pokemon Sword and Shield were first announced. Another OC in that like sort of semi-realistic inspired art style. Little Foppin down here, another Sterling Holloway tribute, and it's something with inspired by Inside Joke. And here we have some colored pencil outfit sketches of another antagonist from the Orchard House. I've had this character since like 2011, and I could not for the life of me ever come up with a design for her outfit that I like. Like, I think she was just cursed. Like, there were some characters that I created in that time frame as well that I was able to stick with outfits for, but not her. They always came out like, I was never satisfied with any of them, and I don't know what it was. This is part of OC art trait that I did for Laserline, or Agent Jimenez as she goes by on some platforms. And this is Juniper by my friend Timmy20. More Orchard House. The silly little meme redraw using just like ink and highlighter pen. And this is more fan art for friends OCs in the fanime community. So this is Tana from Diamond in the Diamond reboot where it was pivoting away from Tokyo Mew into becoming an original series. I was actually going to voice this character, so I really wanted to draw her. And this is Samina, a gummy shark OC that I adopted from someone on Instagram. And this is Layla from the Orchard House. I really like how this spread turned out. Yeah. These are some old OCs that I had probably just created around that time. And I wanted to try and draw a little scene with them because I realized that I had some brush pens that I thought fit their color schemes really well, because one character, they're like superhero characters, so one character has powers inspired by water and another has powers inspired by sand, so I really wanted to emphasize that with the background there. This is a draw this in your style entry for 2BB on Instagram. And this is another character from the Orchard House. And along with this like lenticular pushing tag that I just glued in there for some reason. This is a little spread of my original character Keisuke. He's for a project that I'm working on, a fanmade project that is still in development. But when I first created him, he was originally going to be like a villager / marriage candidate in like a not dating sim, like life sim game that I was working on, where everything is like all sweets themed and all of the characters are like witches and wizards, and like you can very clearly see who he was inspired by. I really like how that drawing of Cosmo turned out, by the way. More Orchard House doodles. We have like a younger version of Layla, and then a little comic featuring some of Cordelia's friends, Percy and Waldo. And then this is a draw this in your style of Stella, Latte Swirls OC. I skipped the page, oh no! Come on, there we go. And this is another Draw This in Your Style for Quartz Tash on Instagram. And this was supposed to be a Draw This in Your Style that I wanted to host. This is just of my Animal Crossing New Leaf Bear and Wisp. But I think only one person joined. More Orchard House doodles inspired by some silly fanfiction lines. And here we have Clytron from the Cage Underworld, or Ghost Towns or Ghost Towns as the title was for back then. Yet more Orchard House, so we have like a little character sheet of Thomas, who is one of the antagonists of the story. He was like very much like a sarcastic, like loose cannon type of character that I had a lot of fun working with. Some more Orchard House stuff. This was all inspired by a fan fiction that was written by somebody who was kind of my model for Winona's personality, so I really wanted to reference the fan fiction by taking a paragraph from it. Or no, this actually wasn't from the fan fiction, it was actually like a comment left by the original person. Like, I think it was like part of a Skype DM or something like that. And there just happened to be a screenshot saved of it, and I really wanted to adapt that message as if it were an actual line of dialogue within the context of the story. And here we have a watercolor doodle of Janine and Cheryl in their magical girl forms. And here we have Cordelia again, and I tried to write her name in hieroglyphics down here. I don't know how accurate it is though. For Orchard House, just some doodles of Layla, and then a doodle of Dakota up there, and I'm trying to remember who this character's name was. I think it was... I don't remember anymore. But yeah, basically Dakota is like the story instigating character who gives all the main characters their powers, and this character, whose name I'm completely blanking on right now, she's technically part of the antagonist group, but she's a more neutral character who gives advice to the main characters at one point, but she's also kind of a yandere, so she's still a dangerous woman, so you better watch out. And I think I was doodling this at during a Bible study or something, and I really wanted to pretend like I was really anxious about somebody like seeing what I was drawing, so I tried to put up the facade that I was like a normie by just drawing like anything that I could remember. So I drew Bill Cipher and Cuphead, and I think I drew these later. Like I had like a mental image of like this tsundere looking mermaid with a knife in her chest for some reason. And this is Park, one of the main antagonists of the Orchard House. And we have some more Booth over here. And then this is the start of Inktober, and this is where things started to fall apart for me. I really wanted to try and have a consistent, like, unbroken spread of Inktober artwork throughout the challenge, but that ended up not working out. Like, I ended up losing steam pretty quickly, and this kind of caused me to like stall out a lot of prompts and skip a lot of pages because I was just so tired of working on the same thing consecutively over and over. And this has happened to me before other times as well, where I'm like designing a series of characters or trying to do any other kind of consecutive art prompt. I'm like, oh, maybe this time it'll be different, but it never is. I was able to do pretty well with like Blurb November and Makapi Yamaguchi birthday countdown, just because I was doing them digitally and I was giving myself permission to work on other things in the meantime, because I knew that I had all of those pieces of artwork in separate folders instead of having to worry about my sketchbook flow really consistent. So that's something that I needed to keep in mind for myself. Also, I just want to point out that just because my iPad resulted in me not being able to finish this sketchbook as soon as it should have, like, it's not necessarily the iPad's fault in and of itself. I just don't think I'm the kind of person who's like really hardwired to do traditional art. I have like tons of sketchbooks that I finished from my teenage years, where most of it is just like basically like completed sketches that were intended for me to scan into the computer and complete on a digital program like Manga Studio or Photoshop or whatever I was using at the time. So I think once I finally did get an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil, that just made working in my sketchbook even more redundant for me. I think deep down I was always meant to be a digital artist, and now that I finally had this setup that was a lot more comfortable for me, where I could get digital art that I really liked in a very portable format, as portable as a sketchbook, then yeah, that really cannibalized my ability to use this sketchbook. I still really like this artwork, by the way. This is of Corona Borealis, I believe, from Heirloom Star, my Magical Girl fanime series that also got cancelled. Cornelia, Percy and Waldo, again, this is supposed to be inspired by a scene from the 3rd chapter of Volume 1 where they all go to an amusement park together. This is another, like, minor villain from the Orchard House. I do like her design. I've had this design for a while now, but her arms are like really, really long. And I remember for the longest time, this was the last completed drawing that I did for Inktober. And then for this one, this is more Heirloom Star fan art, by the way. Not fan art, it's my original series, so I don't know if it counts as fan art. But this one and the next one, which is also from Heirloom Star, like, I was able to make a little bit more progress in finishing those sketches that I initially started for Inktober, but yeah, for the longest time, I just could not get through this challenge, and it took me way too long. And this as well, like, I had like most of the colors done for like years and years, and it just needed a couple more things to be finished, and I literally only just finished it like a couple of days ago at the time of me recording this, because I didn't want to cover it up with anything. And we're gonna, as we get past this segment here, you're gonna see a lot of scrapbooking that I did, just covering up pages with artwork from other sketchbooks, or just materials in general that I thought would look prettier than my artwork, or any artwork that I would be forcing myself to draw, or even going to the extreme of like taping and gluing pages together because I didn't want to finish them. But yeah, this was incomplete for the longest time, and literally all I had to do was like fill in the colors on that box and write down the Inktober logo at the top. And yeah, as you can see here, this is where I started taking drawings from older sketchbooks that I had completed and just taping them in here, because I was so tired of having to fill out these Inktober prompts. And this is a Vine redraw featuring Super Danganronpa 2. And this is another failed attempt that I did at trying to do a monthly challenge. This time it was Huevember. I found a prompt list for Huevember where each day of the month was a different fruit. So I really wanted to try and design different characters that were based off of those fruits. And this is for day 2, banana. What's funny is that like this artwork is like a scrap version of what I would redraw in that same sketchbook that I was doing all of the Huevember artwork in. But then later on, I included another drawing from that very same 𝚘𝚘𝚒𝚘𝚘 sketchbook that was actually completed, so I guess if I really wanted to, I could have just taken all of those finished 𝚘𝚘𝚒𝚘 drawings and just pasted them in here. And so we're going back to the 𝚘𝚘𝚒𝚘𝚑 prompts that I was able to finish. So here's my orchard house and some random stickers that I stuck in here for some reason. And this is actually another one of those 𝚘𝚘𝚒𝚑 drawings that I was talking about. This is day 1, lemon. And as you can see, compared to the Inktober drawings where I was mostly just using Hero markers, with this I was giving myself permission to use other art materials as well. Like you can see a lot of colored pencil in there. And I think that helps make them look a lot more rendered and soft compared to these like very almost cel-shaded Inktober drawings. And this is a random OC that I drew based off a dream that I had that I also pasted into the sketchbook. This is like a very The Caged Underworld or Most Towns Are Ghost Towns heirloom star centric spread. So we have a little Kkleitron memory draw, a little Foppan up here, a little Kata down here, and then a character from Heirloom Star, Jean-Claude. I got this really cute Sanrio Marumo Fubiyori measuring tape, and I decided to cut out the little tag that came on the ball chain of the measuring tape and tape it in here because why not? And this is a Tokyo Mew OC that I designed for a little comic project that I was thinking of doing at the time. I'm not really good at doing like fan fiction or any kind of story other than just creating original works. So yeah, this is Niniku Himura, and she's fused with some kind of fruit bat, and her beauty name is Mew Garlic. So there's like a lot of collaging that I did in here, some more Sanrio stuff, a little flyer that I got from a Shukokara Gashapon figure set that I have, business card from Keiko Cup, and this is a sketch of my friend's OC and my OC from the Orchard House once again. This is Elliot, and this is Yuki. And these are just some thumbnail spreads that I did for like a Hamtaro Hip Hip Heartbreak inspired artwork. And this is another drawing from a scrap sketchbook, a little memory draw featuring Boba Cat. And this is when I tried to pick up the Inktober prompts again. Like, I really hate how this turned out, honestly. Like, we're not gonna do all this for too long. Let's move on. And this is a Misa from Space Drops. I definitely made a mistake trying to paste it into the sketchbook because I used, like, I have it right here on the table. I didn't know where my glue stick was, so I just used, like, a bottle of clear glue instead, which was kind of a mistake because it bled all over the place and made all the pages stuck together and look kind of nasty, so lesson learned. This is another rescue drawing from an old sketchbook featuring some Jetpack Pets characters. This is another character from Heirloom Star. I really wanted to try and finish this one because she's actually a counterpoint to this character. In the back of my mind, I wanted her color scheme to be very opposite, where it's predominantly black with some black and white with some rainbow accents, kind of like, oh my gosh, what's the name of that one area in Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door? I should have looked it up before I started recording this video. Adding the highlights to her hair using a brush pen was fun, but then I came in using another brush pen with this terracotta marker, and it just basically ruined the idea that I had because I wanted it to look very like stark and monotone. This just makes everything look way too warm, so I just gave up on it and had to accept that I ruined the inks for this drawing. Another Danganronpa Vine redraw, some Olin Rogers fan art. So, a long time ago on Tumblr, one of my friends was reminiscing about Pajama Sam, And then one of her friends and myself were also reminiscing about Pajama Sam, so we all just decided to draw Pajama Sam together, and so this is my contribution to that. And Stern and Glons, that was originally going to be part of a much larger illustration. And another rescued sketchbook sketch, and whatever this is over here. I had to listen to a soundtrack from the Bad Monday Simulator OST, and it really made me want to draw Sandsfield. And then little corgi Hifumi down here. Unfortunately, this won't be the last time you see Hifumi in the sketchbook. These are all Laser Lime's characters. This is my OC, but all the rest of these are her characters. I was really inspired by those Yume Miyoshi sea slug designs that I wanted to take a very literal interpretation of them and try crocheting their designs onto actual like sleepy cow plushies. So this is me trying to figure out how I wanted the cows to look. And this is my friend Latte Swirls of see Kiki from another old sketchbook. And then we have some more Orchard House artwork that I featured in a much older video on my channel where I redrew some art that I did in elementary school. I know exactly what's on the next page. So we have another rescued sketch featuring some old OCs, and then some Celeste Ruby artwork based off of a vine. This was a lot of fun to do. For some reason I had an easier time drawing Celestia than I did drawing Hifumi, but this is like the very first proper drawing of Hifumi that I actually did. This is back in, let's see, the washi tape is covering the date up a little bit here, but it says August 27th, 2020. So yeah, that's kind of where it all got started for, basically. And then we have some Mario and Luigi colored pencil artwork because this was on the date that the movie came out. And this is a spread drawn by my friend at the time. The two of us were internet friends, but sometimes we would visit each other in real life. And when we did that, we would always bring our sketchbooks and draw something in our sketchbooks for each other. So this was the first drawing that she did over here for OC that I showed at the very beginning. And then there's Shirobara over there. And then there's Chihiro down here. Planning a design for an OC for a project that never really got off the ground. So this is, well, all of this is mostly just like, this is art from my friend at the time, a backing from a pin that I got, a business card from Ali Balad, and a rescued sketch that I did. But this is a crossover between me and my friend Hika Yagami's OCs. This is actually like a rebooted design of Amisa, but it's not exactly accurate anymore, but I still really like how it turned out, and I think these two would get along really, really well. Oh my gosh, at this. So I wanted to practice drawing cartoon squirrels, and this ugliness is what came of it, so don't look at that. And then these are some of my Danganronpa OCs that I wanted to do a redraw of that one Doki Doki Literature Club meme with. So here we have Hime Tsubaki, who you may have seen before in a speed paint where I was telling a story about my time at MetroCon. It was my first time at an anime convention, but anyway, this is Hime Tsubaki, and her talent is the ultimate toy maker. This is Kaoruko Erisugawa, and her talent is the ultimate comedian. This is Nanase Kamui, her talent is the ultimate nun. And this character, whose design isn't really accurate to her anymore, because she has bangs here, but she doesn't have bangs anymore. But this is Satomi Kurai, and her talent is the ultimate polymath. This is a little doodle page that I did. Like, I remember like being in a really, really low state in my artistic journey by the time I came to this page. So this kind of helped me get out of that a little bit. And then there's some like retroactive planning for another Danganronpa fan character I wanted to create. And then this was when Earthbound was first released on NSO, so I really wanted to draw something to commemorate that. I messed up so much on Jeff, which is really unfortunate because he's my favorite character in the game. And I basically just absolutely annihilated my red marker with this piece. I don't know what I was thinking. And yeah, I think once we start getting to pages like this, you can tell how much I just wanted to be done with this sketchbook already, because, like, what are we doing here? Like, this isn't a rescued sketch page or anything like that. This is literally just bootleg Pokemon cards that I taped in here. So I used to have like a really big collection of, did I say Pokemon cards? I'm sorry, I meant Yu-Gi-Oh cards, obviously. I used to have a much larger collection of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Some of them were real, some of them were not. And for some reason, like, I ended up destashing a lot of them, but for some reason, these 4, plus a Cheerful Coffin card that I wanted to keep for some inexplicable reason, were the only ones that I kept. In hindsight, I kind of regret doing this because I know for a fact one of the bootleg cards that I had was the infamous Black Cat Magician one. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to like keep the cute cartoony ones, and then this one, and then I guess this one because burgers. Yeah, I think to me this sketchbook symbolizes this deep sense of attrition that I had with traditional art. Or I really wanted to be done with this sketchbook more than anything, because at a certain point, drawing it just felt like a chore. I didn't have fun working on this sketchbook anymore, no matter how much I tried to have fun with it. I wanted to be able to enjoy working in it again so I could finish it and have something that I was happy with by the end of the day, because I was so tired of just having it weighing me down and keeping me from, you know, properly enjoy my digital art because, you know, I still have this unfinished sketchbook that I need to deal with. It just got to a point where, like, I didn't want to work in the sketchbook, so I didn't want to finish it, so I just had to come to a point where it's like, you know, this isn't going to be as complete as I would ideally want it to be, but it's better off that way. So yeah, this drawing here of Marifa from Poppy the Performer, like, I really wanted to finish at some point, but I never got past the initial sketch phase for it. And there's some like pen brush doodles of some peanut bunnies. We'll call this a proof of concept because somebody requested me to draw some artwork for them based off of the Vocaloid song Paper Planes. And then this is a character design concept. And then this is yet another Vine Danganronpa redraw. And these are some orange frogs that I wanted to design for some reason. Again, these are all entirely with Prismacolor colored pencils. And then here we're getting to the last spread of the sketchbook, which might be very familiar to you. It's where I drew all of my comfort characters in one video. Well, most of my comfort characters. I didn't have any like white gel pen for this, so I couldn't do any highlights for like their hair, their eyes, so I had to work with the materials that I had. And I hope they don't look like too creepy without any whites in their eyes. I tried to do the best with what I had. And then after that is the very last page, where this is basically where I was just so happy to finally have this dumb sketchbook finished. And this is basically like the extent of what I was able to do to celebrate this glowing achievement. Then we have some more stickers on the back. This is another Keiko Cup sticker, and a lot of these are from small businesses, and some of these are store-bought, and yeah, that's basically it. I'm really glad to finally have this sketchbook done in some capacity. I know it's not quite to the standard that I wish it could have been completed at, but, you know, I just had to accept my limitations and where I was and just get it to a point where I could finally happily shelve it. And I think I'm finally at that period where I'm like, finally, the zombie sketchbook is done. I can take it off life support, give it a good burial, and yeah, I won't have it hanging over me anymore like this anymore. I know that sounds like really, really harsh, but honestly, I'm just like, I think this sketchbook has like really overstayed its welcome, especially because, like I said, I was really good about finishing sketchbooks before this one, and this one really just overstayed its welcome. I completed it super, super, super slowly, and I think for me it just represents a period in my creative life, not just limited to art in general, but for storytelling and writing as well, where I just felt really aimless and didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself and what I wanted my creations to be. So whenever I tried to finish the sketchbook, it kind of felt like I was returning to that state of mind that I was in, and I didn't want to go back there. I just wanted to keep going forward with how much I've improved since then. So yeah, I know that this sketchbook tour was kind of all over the place, but I think I'm finally at a place where I'm happy to end it right here and just go back to being a completely digital artist like I think I was always intended to be. So now that this is over, it's time for me to shut this video down. Make sure to give Boba Cat some pats, snacks, and playtime before you log out, and head to the description of this video to find links for every other corner of cyberspace I'm on. Thanks for letting me chat with you, and until next time, what am I gonna do with the rest of my unfinished sketchbook hoard now?